All right. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Stephanie Strand and I today. Stephanie, I'm so excited to interview you because you're going to be teaching a class at the North Dakota Yoga Conference called Chakra Balancing. And I know personally many students of mine who took your workshop on chakra balancing, and they absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. So I'm really excited to chat with you today about the chakras and about how your class at the conference can really help people bring their chakras back into alignment.
Yeah.
So how would you like to start just by telling us a little bit about yourself, your yoga journey, and how you really got interested in the chakras?
I don't know. I suppose, when I was in college, and then my roommate and I went and took just a 1-credit yoga class that kind of had a bunch of different other things with it. And then I just really liked it, and I started doing it at home. And it was funny because I got this DVD, and I was doing this DVD, and I was like, there has to be a training I could take or something. And then I started taking trainings, and then that kind of just exploded into all these other things. And so I have my 200, I have my 500 from different programs, and I'm actually currently in a 1,000-hour yoga therapy program. And so that'll finish in October, which is exciting. And so that's kind of where I am. And then the chakras are just something that's been really huge around here lately. And I know a lot of studios, a lot of people have been interested in them. The energies of the whole thing, people are just more curious. And so I decided to put together a workshop with another girl, another teacher at the studio. And then before that one actually happened, Sigrid and I had went down to Williston and then taught our workshops just kind of separately. And it was a really great turnout, and it was super fun. And then when I came back, we switched it just a little bit so that myself and the other girl could do it together. And then now we get to do it again at the yoga conference. So it's exciting.
Yes, that's so great. It's going to be awesome. I love the chakras. So
yeah, they're very interesting for sure.
Yes. So how about you tell us a little bit about what are the chakras and how they apply in our life?
Yeah. There's so many. It could literally just be like a whole training of itself. But, I mean, they're very ancient, which a lot of people don't know about. I mean, they've been in the Vedas forever. Sanskrit chakra Sanskrit for wheel. So, and it just basically is your 7 energy centers in the body. Also, which relates somewhat to marma points, energy openings, and that kind of thing, which is again a whole other thing. But there's 7 main ones that we focus on, and there is actually more than that. There's a ton more, but just the main 7. And that they have a physical resemblance in the body with clusters of nerves. So it's kind of interesting when people can see that more from like a physical anatomy point of view versus just so kind of out there woo-woo. It makes it more relatable. And so in that sense, then we have this connection internally to these energy centers, and just kind of what comes about from that and how it affects your normal everyday life. And then how when one of them is out of balance, it can throw different things out of balance. And then it just kind of all blends together. But one of the main things that I learned that I thought was super interesting and I didn't know before was whenever you're working with the chakras, you're always supposed to work from the ground up. You always start with your root chakra and then build up on top of that. So it's never, you never want to work with your crown or your third eye or your throat before you focus on your root. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
I know.
No, that is interesting. I've kind of heard about the liberating, and then also I know Anadea Judith talks about the manifesting current too. But, we sometimes, I've heard people talk about that root chakra in a negative way, like, oh, I don't want to stay here. I want to go up here. And it's like,
yes.
Well, that's a pretty important part as well.
It's so important. I know. I mean, think about everything it stands for, stability, grounding, safety. It's your basic needs for survival. So if you don't have it, you're going to be completely clustered if you go anywhere else.
Yeah. You can't just live up here. You still have to eat food.
It doesn't work so great. We all know who those people are, too, that live up there.
Yes, definitely. I also always found it really fascinating how the chakras do align with the with the nerve plexi, because the ancient yogis didn't know where those nerve plexi were.
I know, it's impressive. Just the stuff that they understood way before we could even study it internally.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah, just from looking from the outside in, they could tell there's stuff going on in these places, you know.
Yeah.
So
another really interesting thing too is the colors that are associated with the chakras is also fairly new. They didn't really have specific color associations with them, like how we associate the root with red and then the throat with blue. You know, there's a lot of differences in that, and that's interesting. So with people to really come so heavily into like a color association, that's great, and there's nothing wrong with it. But they really didn't have that back then. It was just kind of, you know, things that you associate with your root. So that could be brown, like earth, or green, like grass, you know, or the red was like more of like a lava from the earth center, you know, or a yellow. I mean, it was really whatever you felt or what came up for you, and then that was your own color association. That was interesting too, because it's not just red for everyone.
yeah. Yeah, that is really interesting because we always think of them as, you know, following the colors of the rainbow and stuff. But in class, I know classical yoga, they have completely different colors.
Yeah, they do. Very interesting.
Yeah. So how can the chakras maybe come out of balance? And is being out of balance a bad thing? Is it a good thing? You know, can you talk about the balancing?
Yes. Okay, so the interesting thing is when you're working with your chakras, it's all about knowing who you are and figuring out, you know, what each chakra means to you, because they're all so different for each person. I mean, there's similarities and there's differences. So when you think about as a chakra is an energy, so it can fluctuate throughout the day. So it just kind of weaves in and out. So your root chakra, we just keep coming back to that. Your root chakra could be in balance, and then an hour later could be out of balance. It really depends like what you're doing. So say you're sitting in a really good place with friends and family, you feel supported, you feel loved, you're having a great conversation. Your root chakra is more than likely very open and very balanced. But then say you're in a new environment, you're traveling a lot, you know, you don't really have a place to land your feet, your root chakra is probably going to be out of balance because there's no stability, there's no place to really find a home. So, I mean, it can fluctuate throughout your day, it can fluctuate throughout your life. But the important thing to know is how to bring it back into balance so that when we find ourselves there, we can still find a way to balance without having to be in a specific place or a specific time. And that's interesting to me because people feel like when they're out of balance with their chakra, it's going to always be out of balance, or, you know, and then when they bring it back into balance, they're like, oh, I'm good now. Like, it's just going to be great forever. And it's like, no. Like, you're good for about a couple of minutes. No, it's just knowing when it's going to happen, right? So like, oh, I can really feel that it's out of balance for me. And then what am I going to do to bring it back? Yeah. So they're just going to be weaving in and out all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Which maybe makes people feel a little nervous, like they're like, well, that stinks, you know, but you find a balance within that when you can find, you know, when you think about walking the middle line and just knowing how to work with your own body, your own energy center.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah.
I know. I've heard people say, oh, my chakras are out of balance, that's bad. And it's like, well, I don't think it's bad. It's just part of living your life, you know?
Yeah. Totally. Like there's flux all the time, changes happen, and it isn't bad. And there's such a thing as being too open. So when you think about balancing, you really strive to find that place where you're not closed off, but you're not too open. Because when you're too open, it just is like the two extremes. Mm-hmm. And you want to find that happy middle.
Yeah.
So yeah. Because I've heard that too, where people are like, oh, I'm closed in my root, I should open it. And then there's people that are too open, and then they don't even think that's a thing. They're like, no, I'm open, I'm great. And you're like, but you could be too open, you know, and it's just this lovely little, I don't know, back and forth.
Yep. And I've personally experienced, you know, that I feel like sometimes if one area is really closed, then another area may be too open.
Yeah.
So it's working with both of those energies to bring them back into balance.
Yes, which is really, it's so important to come back to the root chakra and always work with that first and figuring out where you are, because then it's so much easier to go up and then work through all the others. You know, or even if you went from your root right into your third eye, you know, at least you're grounded and stable before working with all those other energies. So I mean, yeah, it just kind of comes back to that too.
Yeah.
Knowing where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit about your class at the North Dakota Yoga Conference and exactly what tools that we'll be learning to kind of work with our chakras.
Yes. So it'll be interesting because the class is about an hour and a half. And I want to do most of it practice for like maybe 45 minutes to an hour, just so people can feel that in their own body. And I think that's just the most important thing. But then before that, we're going to kind of, I have all these beautiful charts and stuff that we can kind of go through and cover, but there's so many things that, I mean, we're really just going to breeze through them, get a general overview of what they are, but at least they'll have these lovely take-home charts to go with them, and then they can just kind of learn more when they're at home. But the practice itself is one that starts grounding and then just kind of works through all of the chakras, opening them up, and then we come back through in balance. And then we just kind of finish with this lovely, hopefully everyone just walks out floating on cloud nine, but just kind of builds it up and then comes back down, and we're just in this beautiful place. So yeah.
Nice. I think that'll be such a lovely way to end the conference, especially just making sure that before we go back out there into our lives, that we feel really aligned and in balance. Because I know for me, whenever I'm at the conference, it's sometimes like, oh, I'm in this little yoga bubble with all my friends, and it's fantastic. And I'm like, oh, now I have to go home and do laundry.
Yes, or there's the energy at the yoga conference. I went last year, is just so crazy intense in a good way, but just also so crazy and intense. And there's just like you kind of leave and you just feel like you're floating, like you're so great, but it's like and then you're just like there's nothing to come back to. So it would be nice to kind of leave with more of a settled state of mind versus so where am I?
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I think it's going to be such a nice class, especially I think that Sunday is going to be so fantastic. So
good. I'm excited.
Yes, me too. Awesome. Well, is there anything else you want to tell us about the chakras or about your class or anything at all?
I mean, it's pretty, I want to say it's basic. I want to try to keep it as simple as I can so it's not so confusing and people don't leave more confused than when they came in. The charts really speak for themselves. It goes through all 7 chakras, their color associations, their mantra associations, just a whole bunch of stuff. So it's really all in the chart. And it's just kind of a nice way to just give them that view of it. And then we just kind of talk about some other little things. We'll put together these lovely cards. Oh, there's like a preview. See?
Oh.
Aren't they cute?
Yeah.
So there's one for each chakra. And then what they'll do is they'll just pick a card. And I'm kind of debating at the moment, but what I'm thinking is we'll just kind of write our mantras on it, and then we'll just have our little cards that we can focus on, kind of like a drishti at the top of the mat. And then we can flow through the practice, focusing on that specific chakra in your own body while working through all the other ones.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I love the take homes and that people have tools that they can take back out into their lives.
Yeah. So. I'm very visual. I love stuff like that. So
yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
That's awesome. How awesome. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I can't wait for your class and just to tell everyone about it, because I think it's just going to be such a lovely class. So
good. I know. I'm so excited. Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Well, have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.